Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Convo. We are excited that you're joining us. We are here to answer questions that some of our friends in our community asked us on our social media page, on our Facebook page. And this is awesome because, typically we go and talk and start with these 88 great conversation starters, and we promote in this Coffee and Convo intentional time to talk with your spouse. And we usually kick it off with a conversation starter, but today, I'll pick those up later. Today, we're going to do something different. Like I said, you guys came to us with some questions, and we picked one of those, and we're going to use those in the next coming episodes. We want to come alongside you again, like we said before, in this thing called marriage, and we want to meet you where you're at, understand what problems and issues and obstacles you have to overcome, and we want to help answer those questions. So thank you for the questions. So,
disclaimer though, we are not trained professionals. We're just going to be giving advice based on our experiences.
That's very true. Yes. So full disclaimer, if we screw you up, it's not our fault. Take this information
and apply it wisely.
Yeah, apply it to your situation. Again, we're going to give general sense in our experiences. We may relate in some aspects or another. You may disagree. And if you do, awesome. Comment below and let us know your thoughts, because we want this to be interactive. We want to communicate with you, and we want to have this conversation going. So, the question we had from our friend Heather: when things happen, big or small, how do you help your spouse understand your feelings?
That's a good one.
So, and this is kind of funny because I was just in a dad panel, a husband and father panel with some other friends, and one of the questions was, what is one thing that you wish your wife would do differently or more of, or better, right? Something like that. And my answer to that question kind of relates to this, is in the form that Lori speaks to me. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that maybe she's not too dissimilar from other wives or other women in how she communicates to me. She says one thing, but carries a different meaning than how I receive it. So, right, men as logical speakers and logical thinkers,
meaning simple. They're simple-minded.
We're simple-minded, yeah, like absolutely. We're simple-minded. Just tell me what you want, and let's go from there. Case in point, she had some friends over from her Rise tribe last night to do a movie night. And she asked me earlier in the week, are you going to be taking the boys out, our kids, you're going to take the boys out so we, can plan on that? I said, yeah, that's a great idea. I'll take the boys out. It'll be a boys' night out. What she really meant was, are you staying home so that you can keep an eye on Charlie, our puppy? That's what she really meant.
All I meant was keep them out of my hair so I can be with my friends.
All right, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. So, and we came up with three specifics, three tips.
High-level thoughts.
Yeah, 3 thoughts that came to our mind when we read this question. We'll share with you that we think can be helpful. Mm-hmm. So, number 1 is don't attack. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, because I think sometimes the words that we use, we're trying to explain how we're feeling, but a lot of times we'll project them onto how we think they're making us feel, so they can take it as an attack. And I say they as whoever you're talking to. So if I feel like Dave is not understanding me or not hearing me, I could say, you are making me feel this way. Well, it's really not him making me feel this way. It's just I'm feeling this way. So if you can take out the words of you're doing this or you're making me do these things or making me feel this way, I think that's less attacking than just saying, this is how I'm feeling. It may not be right or wrong. It might not be logical or anything like that, but this is just how I'm feeling. Because we can't argue with feeling, but we can argue with you're doing this. He may not be doing it. I'm just receiving it that way.
Right. And so when you are on that attack, it ends up being a perpetual cycle that feeds itself. This attack and defend cycle. When I feel like I'm attacked and backed into a corner, my natural defense is to defend and to attack back and to argue back. And so when we can change our approach, again, remember, we can't control our spouse. We can't control how they're going to receive what we say, but we can control how we deliver it. We can control how we think through the process of what we're going to say and choose the words that we want to best express what our feelings are.
Yeah, and it's okay to have the feeling. Like, you can feel a certain way, and that's not wrong. It's just a matter of if they made you feel that way. I think that's the problem, is we initially just kind of, we don't want to own our feelings sometimes, so it's just like, you made me feel this way, where in all reality it probably wasn't fully the case.
Right. And so that's a perfect segue into number 2, which is owning your stuff. We all carry baggage, emotional baggage. We come from different life circumstances. We come from different experiences, right? Life has spoken into our personality. Life has spoken into us in a unique way that hasn't to our spouse. So they see the world and see and react to a circumstance, the same circumstance, differently. They react. We each react to the same thing differently. So it's not fair to expect our spouse to see things the exact same way that we see it, right? So own that. Own our different perspectives. Own our different experiences.
And respect the other person's perspective too, I think. So it's not just owning what we feel, but it's respecting that you may not feel the same way.
Right. Yeah, and so empathy, right? We talked about empathy in a prior episode. You can go back and watch that. This is a real difficult area for us, and we're continuing to grow in empathizing and showing empathy for each other and understanding the perspective, right? Walking a mile in her shoes, literally, I mean, that's empathizing. Yeah, I might not completely understand and relate, but I can express empathy.
I think that's more my problem. I don't empathize very well.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, okay, you said it. I mean,
I did.
Again, these always end up turning into
therapy
sessions for us. This is very therapeutic. And you're here with us, so this is awesome. So owning your stuff, noticing ways that your behavior will contribute to a deeper problem, right? So owning your responses. You can choose, again, like I said in the first point, you can choose the words that you're going to use. You can choose not to be attacking. So it's important to own your stuff and recognize that.
And know how you're going to kind of come to a situation. So if there's the same repeated issue that keeps coming up, it may be a deeper issue.
Yes. I'm glad you said that, because we talked about this prior to recording. Lori, for example, her personality is introverted. So going into a party, for example, she knows going into it that she's going to want to be with me.
If I don't know people.
If she doesn't know people. And even to some extent, if you know people.
If I'm not close to them, yeah.
Yeah, at least like off the get-go. I have to kind of walk alongside you when we enter. I can mayor, like she breaks my chops all the time.
He'll talk to whoever, whenever, for however long.
Yeah, so earlier on in our relationship, we didn't understand those personality differences. I didn't know that that's how she ticked. So when we went into a party in the same scenario, I would go my way. I'd see somebody and start waving and chatting it up, and inadvertently, not expecting, Lori would kind of clam up and fall aside to my conversations, and before you know it, we're split up in this party setting. Nowadays, and that would cause animosity, that would cause problems, it would cause frustration. Fights, yeah, like
for days.
Yeah, and it was simply, I like to talk to a lot of people, and
I didn't.
And she didn't. But we didn't know that. We didn't understand that.
So I felt like he was leaving me behind, and like I just kind of felt mad.
Yeah.
And hurt.
So we didn't know how to navigate those conversations. Yeah. She would just attack me. Like, we went in there, and where'd you go? You left me. Well, no, I didn't intend to leave you. We came to the party together. But nowadays, like, she'll actually have a conversation with me. This just recently happened.
Yeah.
In the drive, in the car, on the way to the party, and say, hang out with me. Don't leave me alone. Like, we don't really know a lot of people. Don't leave me alone. Hold my hand, put your arm around me.
I didn't say all that.
Be with me.
No, he's adding words.
No.
I just said, don't you dare make me talk to people I don't know for a long time.
So that was extremely helpful for me, because I know what her expectations are going in. So that's growth, okay? Listen, that is growth. That is where we were compared to where we're at, and this is emotional intelligence growth. Yeah. And lastly, that brings us to our last point, number 3, is going deeper to help your spouse understand your feelings. Because, and here's what I mean by that. In the question that we got, there was, that we kind of pulled from it, and we may be a little bit off base here, but we kind of related to this, that there may be more than just a bad decision that was made that you can't move on past, right? It was mentioned in this question that the husband was like, okay, you know what? We made this decision. It is what it is. Let's move on and learn from it, and you can't do anything to change it. But she was still kind of hung up on it, right? Could have used money differently. The decision kind of led him down a path that it could have been different. So
beating herself up a little bit.
Yeah, kind of beating herself up over it.
Negative talk.
Yeah, negative talk, which I'm sure, like us, you can relate to that, negative self-talk, just making a bad situation worse. Well, maybe there's actually a deeper issue there, and this is where self-reflection and introspective look, taking an introspective look on ourselves is really, really powerful here. Again, like I said earlier, I can't control my wife. I can't dive in and understand what makes her tick, but we can take an internal look at what makes ourselves tick and help us understand what our responses are and why things affect us a certain way. And what I mean by that is, maybe it's not the decision. Maybe there's something deeper than that. Maybe there's a fear of rejection. Maybe there's a fear of making a bad decision, right? All those things. And it's not necessarily this instance, but maybe something deeper than that.
So really getting to like the heart of the issue, because if it's the same thing, like for us, it was the same issues that kept coming up, and it could be a different way that they surface, but it would be the same thing. Like at the root of it, it was constantly just the same argument over and over and over again.
Do you ever feel like you're Groundhog Day fighting? Like over and over and over again, the same issue arises, right?
Yeah, in all different ways. So it's really getting to the heart, like going deeper is getting to the real heart of that issue. So maybe in this circumstance, one person can say, yeah, just chalk it up to a life lesson, where the other person is really getting down on themselves. But may not just be this one thing, but if you can think back to, okay, this happens a lot. Whenever I make a decision that doesn't work out, it's not just this one time that I'm beating myself up, but is it and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So maybe it's just something where, okay, I failed and now I feel like a failure. Mm-hmm. And it's not just, okay, I failed, let me learn and move forward in it, but why is it continuing to happen?
Yeah.
So really figuring out what that deeper rooted issue, and that's just when we can work on ourselves to get that.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's a bonus tip. Ask yourself why you're feeling the way you are. Mm-hmm. And you can use that before you go into a conversation with your spouse. I can't stress enough, every time we talk about what are some ways that we can help you and help ourselves, it always seems to boil down to how we're communicating. Either lack of, or just not doing it in an effective way.
And really like knowing yourself. I think a lot of it has to do with looking yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, who is this person? And really understanding how we tick as individuals, because the stronger we are as individuals, the stronger we are as a team.
Right. Absolutely. So don't attack, own your stuff, and go deeper. And we hope that this encourages you in helping your spouse understand your feelings. And there was actually a second part to this, is how do you ask your spouse for help without asking them to solve the problem?
Okay, this is a woman issue. Because I think a lot of times women, we want our spouses just to hear us. Like, men are fix-it people. Like, they just want to come to the table, you tell them their issue, and they want to be like our superhero that can be like, ta-da, here, I fixed it for you. And most times, I would say the majority of the times, we don't want to be fixed. We just want to be heard. Mm-hmm. So I think as women, we have to do a much better job of saying, all right, I just need you to sit there and listen. Don't fix me.
Yeah, so going into that.
Yeah, setting your expectations.
Yes, and if you're asking for help, expect a response that is going to be a fix-it.
Or
right?
If you don't ask for anything, assume that you're going to get a fix-it response. If you don't say, just listen,
yeah,
majority of the time you would just come at, and I think most men, when I talk to friends, most men want to fix because
Yep.
they want to help us.
Yep. I want to fix.
You're our protector, and that's what they're ingrained to do. They're ingrained
Mm-hmm.
to fix it, protect us, make us feel better. And sometimes we don't want to be fixed. We just want to be heard.
Yeah.
So if you want that, if you're going in saying, okay, I don't need a solution, I don't need you to fix this, I just need you to hear me, and then be done.
I'm just practicing listening right now. This is so
But
good
I think
for
we
me
as
to
women
hear.
have to do a much better job of prefacing it with, don't fix it, don't open your mouth, hear me, and I'm just going to walk away.
So I know how you are, and that's exactly how you would say it to me, and I've grown to accept that response. How would you say it in a way that is not sort of attacking or setting a false expectation? Like maybe instead of saying, don't fix what I'm about to say, I just need you to listen, maybe something along the lines of, I'm dealing with something right now, and I just want to bring it to you, and I would love for you just to listen. I don't really need a fix or a response. I just need a sounding board. I need someone to hear me.
That's a much kinder way than I would say it.
That was good, right?
That was, but
wow.
I would never say that.
That was off the cuff.
I would just say, don't
Right?
talk.
Right?
Don't talk, listen.
Write that stuff down.
That's all right.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Okay. So with that, we hope this encourages you. Help us out in this conversation. Share this this post. Share this video if it was encouraging and helpful to you. We want to get in front of other people and share this community and invite more people like you in so that we can help each other grow in our marriages. We are praying for you, praying for your marriage, and we hope that this blesses you. And we look forward to seeing you in the next Coffee and Convo.
See ya.
Bye.